When you have finished painting your 4 pieces of watercolor paper, make sure that they are on the drying rack. After you've taken them off the drying rack, make sure that you put them into your bin or in your folder for safe storage. Don't leave them over there so that they may fall down and go missing. So you need to make sure that you have those 4 pieces of paper, and then you're ready to start on your sketch of your actual image moving forward for your project. So this is the image that's going to go onto the linoleum that you will carve out. If you're looking for where the sketch sheet is, this is on the back of our color schemes, definitions, our vocabulary. So when you flip that over, you've got where geometric patterns kind of come from, the history. Our project goal is to create a design that is a simple image of your choice, and we're going to print an edition of 4 on that watercolor paper. Here's a really great student example from last year. It's got a really nice bold design. So when you're thinking about your image, it could be a logo or a design. Keep in mind that when we take this, it's going to be printed onto your piece of linoleum, so it will be flipped over. So if it's something that needs to be specific and look exactly like this, it may change the shape of it a little bit. So you want to make sure it's drawn kind of opposite almost of how you would want it to look. This is a leaf that's kind of in the center of my drawing, so I'm not too concerned with how I draw it. Once I draw out my initial pencil sketch, I'm going to go in and make any lines that are just pencil line thick a bold line. We're going to be taking a carving tool and carving around all of these lines, and I will be carving out the center of this. So it can't be just a pencil line. I need to make really bold, thick lines. So that's what I've done with the edge of my leaf. I've went around and gave it a really bold line, as well as the leaf designs that are in the center. So I'm going in here with my pencil, making them thicker and getting my initial shape in. So once I have the shape that I like, then I'm going to go in and make sure that I build up a bunch of graphite. This is how we're going to transfer our image, like how we did our Marty Cooper pictures. So I'm going to build up a bunch of graphite. If you have a mechanical pencil, this will take a bunch of lead, and it's also really thin, so you may ask to borrow a regular pencil. You want to shade until when the light hits it, it looks shiny like this. That means that I've built up a bunch of graphite. I've filled all of the texture of the paper, so it's nothing but graphite in that piece, and you have to build up a lot. So taking a look at your paper, if you can't see it, maybe tilt it back and forth. If you can see that high shine, then you've built up a lot of graphite. So I'm just going to go through and continue doing that. And pressing down really hard and building up that layer. Alright, so I feel like I've built up a lot. I've kind of checked the shine of it. I've went over these more than once, 2 or 3 times, making sure that it looks the way that I want it, and it's got a lot of graphite buildup. Once you're finished with this, you're going to show this to me. I'm going to see if there's anything else that we need to kind of improve or make stand out, and then I'm going to give you your piece of linoleum. So linoleum is this gray color. It is soft, it's pliable, so it can be moved, but we don't want to move it too much because we don't want to break it. When they come out of the box, they are stored with kind of a powder that's on them, so you may want to take your hand or a paper towel and wipe that clean. This should be about 4 by 4 inches. It's the exact same size as this, so that when we place this on here, we'll be able to transfer our image, and it's soft. So when I put this on top of my square, it's going to pick up the graphite that's on there. So I'm going to line this up at the top, and then I'm going to kind of roll it down so that it's on top. I'm not going to move it around. Once it's in place, it's in place. And you're going to push down as hard as you can all over this. So you may need to stand up and put a bunch of oomph into it. So I'm putting pressure on where I know that design is, that leaf shape underneath of here, because I want to transfer the graphite onto my piece. So I'm kind of taking my hand, taking my fingers. You can even double it up into a fist. You just don't want to move it around too much. And then you're going to flip it over, and I've transferred that graphite that I build up to here. It'll be kind of light, so you may have to fill in some things and redraw it, and that's okay. So I'm going to take my Sharpie so that it's really bold and I can see it, and go over top of my lines. Remember that anything that's shaded in, that is going to stay. Anything that's the gray out here, I'm going to be taking a carving tool and removing some of it. Also, going over this with Sharpie, make sure that your design is permanent. This is really soft with graphite on here. So if you move it, it's going to smudge it, and you may get rid of some of your lines as you're carving. So this makes them permanent. I'm not going to lose my design. Still a lot of that kind of residue that's on there from the packing. So I'm just gonna push that out of the way. So there's my design, and I've got it ready for the next step, which is going to be carving.